Today, we're going to talk about a marriage that didn't end with a big fight or a dramatic explosion. Nope, this one ended with something way more chilling. A quiet, devastating sigh of relief.
This quote right here, it cuts right to the bone of the story we're getting into today. It's a story that really serves as a powerful warning. Welcome to her warning. You know, every story like this has a turning point. It's that one single moment where the truth, the real truth, just can't be ignored anymore. And for the husband in our story, it all started with a simple, quiet observation that changed everything. It all kicked off on a totally normal Wednesday night. He's 3 years into his marriage. He reaches for his wife, just a simple gesture of affection. She says, "Not tonight, honey. I'm exhausted." But here's the thing. It wasn't the words that hit him. It was the look on her face. It wasn't disappointment. It wasn't even real tiredness. It was pure, unmistakable relief, like she just dodged a bullet. And in that 1 second, he started to question the entire foundation of their marriage. And what's so scary about this kind of thing is how slowly it creeps up on you. It's a classic case of death by a thousand cuts, right? When he looked back, he could actually map it out. It started with that easy, spontaneous passion of newlyweds. Then, in year 1, it cooled to a few times a week. Year 2, it dwindled to maybe every few weeks. By year 3, it was once a month, if he was lucky. And it felt less like passion and more like a chore she was just reluctantly checking off a to-do list. Each step down felt temporary, until one day he woke up and realized he was living in a permanently cold, new reality. So that look of relief, it sparked this quiet, really painful experiment. He decided to just stop. Stop initiating, stop trying, just to see what would happen. He had to know if he was going crazy, if he was just imagining all of it.
And the results of his little experiment were immediate and just deeply unsettling. On Thursday, he made absolutely no move toward her. And what happened? She was suddenly more relaxed, more talkative than she'd been in months. Okay, Friday, he kept his physical distance. She seemed even more at ease. She even initiated a quick, friendly hug. But Saturday was the real shocker. He acted completely, genuinely disinterested in her romantically. And she was glowing, absolutely content, happy, chatty, already making social plans for them. It was horrifyingly clear. The less he wanted her, the more she actually seemed to like him.
The conclusion was just, you couldn't deny it. And this is such a chilling insight into how relationships can go wrong. Her happiness was directly connected to his lack of desire. Think about that. It wasn't just that she was avoiding intimacy. She was actively happier. She preferred a relationship where the possibility didn't even exist. His desire for her had become a burden, and him taking it away was like giving her a gift. So this silent experiment, it actually went on for weeks. It created this huge, quiet gap between them that was just impossible to ignore anymore. And finally, all the unspoken rules of their marriage were dragged out into the light during one single, devastating conversation. Picture this. They're sitting on opposite ends of the couch one evening, in total silence. And she looks at the empty space between them, sighs contentedly, and says this: "This is perfect." She was looking at this comfortable, passionless quiet and calling it perfect. She was literally celebrating the very thing that was breaking his heart, and she thought he was finally on the same page. And that's when he just asked her point blank. He had to hear her say it out loud. He needed to know if she actually understood the words coming out of her mouth, what she was truly asking for. Her answer just laid bare the massive, unbridgeable canyon between them. For her, a good marriage was, well, a peaceful companionship, a friendship. No drama, no pressure, like a roommate. But for him, a marriage without passion, without desire, without that physical connection, it wasn't a marriage at all. It was just a roommate agreement. They wanted two completely, fundamentally different things. And when he tried to push back, when he asked, well, what if a husband is interested in all that stuff? Her response was the final nail in the coffin. She didn't just disagree with his need for intimacy. She judged it. She called it immature, a character flaw. In her worldview, real love, grown-up love, was supposed to be passionless. And with that one sentence, the verdict was in. The decision was made. There was no yelling, no anger, just the cold, quiet clarity of someone who finally understood that there was absolutely nothing left to fight for. He saw it all so clearly then. She didn't want a partner who desired her. She wanted a peaceful cohabitant, a roommate who helped pay the bills and made absolutely no emotional or physical demands. His needs weren't just an inconvenience to her. In her eyes, they were the entire problem.
So he gave her exactly what she said she wanted, the life with no pressure. While she was at her book club, and you can't make this up, she was probably reading some cheesy romance novel, he packed his bags, just his personal things. He left his wedding ring and his house key on the counter. And he walked away. He didn't leave a note, because what was there to say? She'd already written the ending to their story. He was just closing the book.
Her reaction really showed just how little she got it. The voicemails she left, they were a masterclass in cluelessness. It started with confusion, which quickly turned to irritation, then full-blown anger. That anger eventually melted into pleading, and then, finally, this tiny flicker of uncertainty. For the very first time, she wondered, did I say something wrong? A question that was about 3 years too late.
You'd think his departure might have led to some big moment of clarity for her, right? Some self-reflection? Well, you'd be wrong. Instead, in the aftermath, she started to completely rewrite their entire history. In court, during the divorce, she painted this picture of a perfectly happy marriage that he just suddenly threw away over a whim. She told the judge, word for word, that it came completely out of nowhere. Just like that, she erased 3 years of her own rejection and reframed his heartbreak as a sudden, selfish impulse. And in the years that followed, she built this whole public narrative to explain why she was still single. The problem was never her, of course. No, it was men's unrealistic expectations. It was the toxic nature of physical desire. It was society's fault for emphasizing base physical needs. She became the victim, a martyr in a world that just couldn't understand her superior, mature view of love. And that's really where their paths split for good. He learned a hard but incredibly valuable lesson. He deserved a partner who actually wanted him, not just one who tolerated him. And what did she learn? Absolutely nothing. In her mind, she was right all along, and any man who actually desires his partner is the one with the problem. When you think about it, she got exactly what she described that night on the couch. A life with no pressure, no expectations, no drama, no intimacy. She just never seemed to realize that to get that perfect life, she'd have to be completely alone in it. Which leaves us with this one final, really haunting question. She was given the exact relationship she claimed she wanted, so why is she still haunted by the man who gave it to her, by leaving? So, what are your thoughts? Was his silent exit justified, or do you think he should have tried to talk it out one last time? I really want to hear what you have to say down in the comments. This story is a huge warning about unspoken needs and what happens when two people want fundamentally different things. If you found it thought-provoking, please do me a favor and like, share, and subscribe to Her Warning for more stories like this one. Thanks for watching.